All right, so in my previous Bitcoin Ethereum analysis video, I had mentioned that I wanted to see Bitcoin respect or close above this weekly order block level. And if we did that, we'd be continuing to be bullish. But the fact that we closed below the weekly order block level to me signifies more bearishness. So going to the daily time frame, I removed the weekly order block pink line level for the daily chart. I had also mentioned I gave a couple scenarios for what I wanted to see for bullishness and what I want to see for bearishness. And in this case, I had mentioned you can look at my previous video, it's around the 4 or 5 minute mark. I had said that one scenario we could see is this is a daily fair value gap, so the high, middle, low, that we could see that price and Bitcoin go into this daily fair value gap, respect the 50% of it, and then begin to trade lower and then aim for these levels, which is exactly what we got. So the bearish scenario that I pointed out is exactly what's happening right now. I did mention a bullish scenario where we would go up above this daily fair value gap level. There's a balanced price range right there, and that would use it as support to go higher, but we obviously don't have that. So in this case, my bearish scenario has panned out. I'm just going to jump into the chart real quick. For me, I think that like it wants to keep going lower, and what I want to see it as, I think ideally is just this is a weekly fair value gap. I think it's going to want to come and dig into some of this. And the reason I say that is because just I have different colors for different time frames. So pink is weekly, blue is white, or sorry, daily is blue or white, and so on. So this weekly fair value gap, I think it's going to want to dig into it some more because if we look at the where we're at right now, look at this, like these are really clean lows. These are really clean relative equal lows. And so for me, I think it's just too clean. I think obviously Bitcoin's going to want to dig into that and take out these lows, maybe aim for some of that as well. But I think overall, it's safe to say that we're probably going to, you know, dig into this fair value gap right here, maybe probably dig into the high of it, maybe aim for the middle as well. We'll see what we get. There's a bunch of different scenarios, but essentially, I think we're going to keep aiming bearish and aim for these lows. So we're going to want to aim for 91, 92K, and then probably going to come a little bit lower. I think we're going to see what we get after we clear out these lows. And then if it goes up, great. But I think it might just want to keep digging, keep going lower, dig into this daily weekly fair value gap. There's a daily order block right here. If you guys look right there. So it might want to dig into that as well. Just a sec here. It's daily order block level with the 50% of it as well. I'm just going to eyeball it right there, roughly. And, I might want to dig into that because right now we're currently at this daily order block. So we're at this daily order block level right here. And I think that, well, I mean, here's the thing. This is the day it tapped 100K for the first time. So we tapped to this daily order block, went up, and then we tapped heavily into it and rejected heavily away from it. So, there's sensitivity here, but we're revisiting the same daily order block. I think it's going to want to, like I said, collapse a little bit more and aim for these lows. And there's a daily order block right there. It might want to tap into the high, middle, low of it, high, middle of it, and then maybe come back up and dance around and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, daily order block level. So, okay, so these relative equal lows, daily order block level, the high, the open of it, middle, and then these are my next areas of liquidity that I want to see price reach into. So I want to see it go to 92K and then 90,500-ish rounded up and then 89K and so on. But like I mentioned, just to clarify, I think we're going to want to dig into this weekly fair value gap level. So yeah, I think safe to say we're looking for shorts on Bitcoin. Ethereum. So Ethereum's interesting. Right. Ethereum is a little bit different. I don't think that, I mean, we'll see what we get. We're short-term bearish, but long-term bullish. But I think it's gonna respect this week. This is weekly order blocks. This is powerful support. I think it's gonna respect this level and the 50% of it. This is what I think. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think it might want to respect this level and go higher because here's the thing. We're at this level on the weekly time frame, weekly order block. If we were to close below the 50% of it on a closing basis, whether it's on a weekly or a daily candle, then yes, I'm bearish. But the fact that we haven't done that, it to me signifies bullishness because when we come into the monthly time frame, you look at this. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this level right here. This monthly fair value gap. You see this monthly fair value gap right here? Right there, that level. The monthly fair value gap low, I'm just gonna mark up the low of it, just the low. So the monthly fair value gap low with the white line right there, and this is the high of it. So I'm gonna remove the high, but I'm gonna keep the low. So this monthly fair value gap low is a very powerful level that price is currently at. So Ethereum's currently at this monthly fair value gap low. I think that if as long as we stay respecting this weekly order block right here, and we stay above it on a closing basis, we're gonna go higher. However, if we lose this weekly order block on a closing basis on the weekly or daily time frame, so if the weekly candle, if this, I guess we have 6 days to the next weekly candle closes, no problem. Let's go to the daily. If we lose the 50% of this weekly order block, so if we lose 3140-ish on a closing basis on the daily time frame, then I'm bearish. But the fact that we're above it, then I'm continuing to be bullish, and we'll see what we get. So I think I'm still bullish on Ethereum for the time being, as long as we don't lose the weekly order block, and then we'll see what we get from there. It's kind of where we're at with Bitcoin, Ethereum. Just to clarify one more time, relative equal lows on Bitcoin. I want to see it come into these lows right here. Okay. And then maybe, if it goes lower, there's a daily order block level right here, the open of it, 50% of it. We'll see how it reacts away at that level. Might want to go higher. If it doesn't, then again, this weekly fair value gap level that I think we're going to see it dig into for a weekly institutional order flow entry drill. So if we were to go into this weekly fair value gap, the high of it, just going to remove that. So the high of this weekly fair value gap and the middle of it, we're going to probably revisit the high in the middle of the weekly fair value gap. So between 85,500, let's just say, and then 89,500. So between 85.5 and 89.5, this $4,000 difference, we might see it reach into those levels and then reject heavily away from there, providing a bullish opportunity of some buys. And then I don't know if it's going to just, skyrocket and, aim for new highs. We don't know that yet. But I think right now Bitcoin is just, it got to give it some breathing room because we went up a lot and then we'll see what we get from there. So, all right, cheers.